Alright, we are back for yet another week. Last week was our Week 12 recap. This week will be our Week 13 recap.
So if you haven't seen last week's video, hit the big red button below. Okay, so some studs this week in the NFL. Begin with Cam Newton, Doug Baldwin, Odell Beckham, Marcus Mariota, and Brandon Marshall.
There's also Allen Robinson, Blake Bortles, Russell Wilson, AJ Green, Antonio Brown, Big Ben, and Martavis Bryant.
Now, Antonio Brown had a big week in the Sunday night game against the Colts. He had two or three total touchdowns, including a punt return, which he got flagged and fined for. But other than that, he had a really great game.
Now, Allen Robinson, he had a huge game for the Jaguars. He had 3 receiving touchdowns. Even though they lost, it was still a huge game, over 100 yards. 3 of 5 touchdowns for Blake Bortles. Alright, we have a guest with us, our wonderful dog, Abby. But a few duds in the NFL this week, fantasy-wise. There was Giovanni Bernard, Alfred Blue, Carolina defense, Jarvis Landry, T.Y. Hilton, and Emmanuel Sanders.
You can also add DeMarco Murray, Phillip Rivers, Todd Gurley, Travis Benjamin, Eddie Lacy, and Adrian Peterson.
Now, DeMarco Murray had another horrible game, as he has pretty much every game this season. He has not been very involved in the offense, and the few carries that he has had are slowly getting diminished by other running backs, and he's getting really frustrated. So look for him to possibly get more. But
Jarvis Landry, Miami receiver, he had a surprisingly bad week this week. He only had 5 receiving yards after posting almost 150 yards last week or more and a touchdown. So you're kind of wondering why did he have a bad week. But he should be able to pick it up, I think. He plays the Giants on Monday night, so look for him to have a sort of bounce-back game. Okay, so our injury list this week begins with 2 players who are out for the season, Martellus Bennett and Mark Ingram. These guys are now questionable. Julio Jones, Matt Schaub, Crockett Gilmore, Charles Clay, Carlos Williams, Zach Miller, Gary Barnish, Travis Benjamin, Vernon Davis, and C.J. Anderson.
all of these guys are also questionable. Calvin Johnson, Kenny Stills, Rashard Matthews, Rob Gronkowski, Scott Chandler, Danny Amendola, Willie Snead, Ryan Matthews, Heath Miller, Phillip Rivers, Stevie Johnson, and Kendall Wright.
Lots of injuries, so pay attention to the injury report and set your lineups accordingly.
Alright, some news in the NFL this week. Antonio Brown got fined $11,576 for excessive celebration on his touchdown. It was, what can you say?
Controversial.
Yeah. Michael Crabtree, he signed a 4-year, $35 million contract with Oakland. $19 million of that is guaranteed. So look for him to get reconnected with Derek Carr for the next couple of years.
Also, Cowboys tight end Jason Witten recorded his 1,000th career reception this week on Monday night. So he's now only second to Tony Gonzalez all time for the tight ends, that is. So just congrats to Jason Witten on the outstanding milestone.
He's also 10th all-time, whatever.
Okay, so some waiver wire pickups you should consider this week. Good names like Blake Bortles, Alex Smith, David Johnson, Doug Baldwin, Chris Polk, and Sean Drawn.
A few players you should consider dropping include names like DeMarco Murray, Alfred Blue, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan, James Jones, Travis Benjamin. Now, these next 2 are players you should consider benching. Gary Barnidge and Owen Daniels or Vernon Davis.
Now, Travis Benjamin had a really bad week. He had 0 points this week, which is pretty bad for his standards because he's had a decent season so far. But I think now with all these quarterback changes, you need to drop him because he's going to start becoming even more inconsistent than he has been recently. So drop Travis Benjamin and pick up a decent receiver.
Alex Smith is someone you should pick up because he has had a really good season. He has brought the Chiefs 6 straight victories, and they are now 7-5 and in the playoff hunt. They are most likely going to get a wild card spot, and he hasn't thrown an interception in
since week 3, I think. Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Alright, that was Fantasy Football in 5. Thanks for watching. We delivered all fantasy news in 5 minutes less because who wouldn't want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
This is the Week 13 recap. Next week will be Playoff Week 1 recap, so stay tuned for that and don't forget to subscribe.
Our fantasy team, we won this week. We had a huge outing from Tom Brady, scoring 36 points. We totaled 118 on the week and destroyed our opponent. Now, playoffs start this week, and we are in the playoffs and projected to win against the #1 guy by 11 points. So wish us luck.
We see you next week.